All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's February 4th, 2026. We are recording on YouTube right now. I figured something out. I've been doing some live casting on Facebook, but I can't really bring live cast Facebooks over to YouTube, at least not with the technology I'm aware of right now. But if I record here, then I can post here and share it with Facebook and get on both that way. But we're working on putting it all together, of course. This is really we have a podcast with Jay and Selena and myself, of course. This is like the second show, sort of like, CSNE on the road, Common Sense News and Entertainment on the road. We travel around and get the job done. I am an investigator and I got work to do. And just kind of hang out and talk about the issues, what's going on in the world, and hopefully, bring some insight to people, and I learn too, Eventually we want to take phone calls too. I'll need another phone line for all that. There's a lot to do to make that. I would love to hear what people have to think, what people have to say. It'd be really, really something. So that's going to happen. Today, I'm on my way to Braintree, Massachusetts to investigate a scene of an accident that happened there a couple weeks ago, I believe it was. I do on-call scenes a lot. And by the way, another show I'd like to have on weekends, I think maybe record them and then post them on weekends. It's like a show about what it's like to be an investigator and what it takes to be an investigator. So the state needs good investigators, but businesses compete with one another, of course, and I have competition. There's a couple big companies that are pretty decent that take a lot of business investigators in Connecticut. I'm a smaller company, but we get a lot done. A lot done than a lot of companies that are bigger than me do. I believe we're very efficient, and so therefore, I don't feel a sense of competition like I worry about. I actually encourage people to get involved and compete with me because there's so much work. There's more work than really needed, and there's a lot of investigators, but a lot of honestly buffoons investigators in Connecticut, no doubt about it. I'm not going to name any in particular, but there's a lot of them. The good ones are outweighed by the bad ones. So if you're looking for an investigator in Connecticut, be careful. That's all I can say. So we need more good investigators, and it makes sense to have a show to talk about how what it takes to be an investigator, how you can get involved. It's really, you don't have to go to college or anything like that. You just got to have experience, really, is all the state looks for. Connecticut, to get a license, you have to have experience. But anyway, I'm on my way to investigate an accident, just to take some pictures of the scene and hope that you can get some surveillance, maybe something caught it on camera, or some witnesses might have seen it. But this is really going to be difficult, honestly, because this is taking place at I'm not going to say where particularly, but a very large intersection. And I'm not going to videotape it because I am going to eventually be able to videotape some of what we actually do in the field, but I have to make sure that I'm covered legally. I don't want to use anybody's information that I shouldn't be using. No specifics, be able to bleep things out, faces, things like that. We're working on all that. We don't have that right now, so we're just on the road right now. The highway is fair game, right? So anyway, this accident happened a couple weeks ago at a very large intersection. Let's put it that way. And looking at it on Google Maps, there's not a lot of places where you would expect to see surveillance cameras, like establishments, whatnot, around it, very close by. So the prospects of being successful in finding surveillance video and what I've seen this accident are pretty slim, I would say, at best. Now, I don't know about Massachusetts really yet, but in Connecticut, I know the Department of Transportation does have surveillance cameras all over their roads, all over the state roads, all the state highways, especially. And but those cameras, they say at least, do not record. They only monitor. It means you can look at them live, but they don't record anything. So I find that maybe true, probably true. I don't know. So as a result, we don't really ever go for that video. So we go for private or other public buildings maybe that might, be in the area that happen to have a camera pointing at it. And I'll tell you, there's a couple factors. One is most, ring the DoorDash, the doorbell, ding dong doorbell, DoorDash thing now is very valuable. But most recording devices keep video of motion for anywhere. Some have 6 day. They don't keep it forever generally. Some do, I think, probably, but most don't keep it forever. Some keep it for 30 days. This guy's going extremely slow. I'm going slow as it is. And then some, 6 days. Some will 30 days, 60 days. So you have to time it. This was 2 weeks ago. I don't think there's too many in between, really. I guess you can probably program it how you want. It's better to get to these things as soon as you can, generally speaking, but certainly within the 30 days. So I got this assignment at the end of last week, and I was hoping to get up here a day or two earlier, but we're really busy. We're doing the best we can. And I'm on my way up here now. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. We're going to take some photos. It's also a pretty dangerous place to take photographs, too. Oh, man. That's not going to be an easy situation at all. I'm going to have to get out of the car and take some photographs in a very busy area. So it's a pain. It really is. But I make sure I don't put myself in too much danger with it, If I'm going to get, killed by a political enemy or something, that's one thing. But just get run over trying to take a picture of some fender bender that happened a couple weeks ago is certainly not a good way to go. Not a good way to meet the maker, if you want to, put it bluntly. So, safety is of all importance in this situation. And that's another thing. I like to talk about safety. Let's just talk about safety for a minute. We all want to be safe, but is safety the most important thing? What about your rights? What about the motto of the state of New Hampshire? Give me liberty or give me death. Well, it doesn't say give me liberty as long as I'm safe. Interesting question. So safety is of the utmost importance in almost every situation, but maybe not always. Maybe not always. Sometimes it's important to take a risk for what's right, for the line in the sand issues, what I call them, like children's rights, the parental rights, in raising children, and having the say so. How to raise their children and be given the most wide spectrum there is possible in raising children in terms of being authoritarian versus being light and giving them children leeway as wide as possible. There are limits, of course. Don't allow clear neglect and abuse. Obviously not. But parents have the decisions about how the children are educated, again, within reason. If you're someone from here illegally from another country, certain other countries, and you're teaching your kids to be terrorists here in America, well, that's not the education that we're going to allow for any parent or any institution. Anyway, I listened to earlier today. So I posted and I listened to the podcast with Jay and Selena. It was great. It's very entertaining. You should listen to our podcast. Spread the word. We are growing very slowly but surely, but we expect it to grow much more rapidly in the very near future. And you'll see why. But it was a great podcast. Listen to it. I didn't have an opportunity to listen to them all the time, the ones that I'm not on. I'm so busy, but I was working. I got my office moved now. So, and now I can kind of work while I'm from home a little bit. It's great. I love it. And it's a wonderful thing. And I can hear things going on in the background. And I listened to the podcast. I did most of it, but I didn't catch every word because, again, I was working too. So it was a multitasking thing. But I just want to say a couple of things. Talk about some of the things they talked about. First of all, the race for governor, right? With Betsy McCoy, right? She is the choice. She is the one. She's going to be at the event in the Berlin Turnpike on Saturday. And I have posted, it's on James Meyer's post on Facebook. Check him out there. I know you don't mind me saying that. And now there's only 140 capacity in the building. It's on the Berlin Turnpike, 1,474 maybe? Don't hold me to that, something like that. But the governor candidates I believe are going to be there. At least Betsy McCoy's going to be there. And I know that Carl Higbee from Newsmax is going to be there. Some important people. And we got to get people motivated to get involved in saving the state. It's really not about, here's the important thing, point I have to make. This is not about politics anymore. It's about saving the state. Connecticut, saving the country from falling apart into the ideals of the what same ideology that causes so many people to suffer and die so horribly in the rest of the world. They want here. Okay, so if you want everybody to suffer and die and starve and have horrible lives where they have no rights, and oh, by the way, if you're a woman, if you want to live under Sharia law, be forced to wear parkas, and have no recourse for rape, things like that. That's what they're looking to do here. So if you're a woman, if you're a stupid old woman walking around with you doing in the No Kings protest or stopping ICE from deporting illegal immigrants from Somalia, okay? If you're doing that, then you're dumb. You're dumb. Look at the facts. What's going on here, okay? The country's in big trouble and we need to rise up. This is no longer about politics. It's just not. Politics is part of it. It's not all about that, though. Anyway, I listened to the podcast. And as far as running race for governor, there's no doubt in my mind, 100%, I'm behind. I am 100% endorsing McCoy. Betsy McCoy. Her name is spelled C-A-U-A-U-G-H-T-Y or something like that. It's not McCoy like you'd expected, so don't get confused by that. I was at first. I thought McCoy was McCoy. I get the McCogney. It sounds like McCogney. C-A-U-G-H-T-Y. G-H-N-E-Y? Oh, anyway. We'll get it out there. I'll put it all in caps later on a text post later on. She's the one, I think I'm going to go there Saturday talking to... I can't do everything. Like, I wanted to... It would be cool. If this was a couple months ago, I'd go there talking to Lindy Run for lieutenant governor with her. Because we need somebody who's not a politician. I know she's not... Well, she has run for office. But we got to ask her some questions. We got to have her on the podcast. She's going to have to answer some tough questions, for sure. Because we ask tough questions for both sides. And, my ambitions for running for office are on hold indefinitely, for sure. Right now, concentrating on journalism, media, and getting things going, get the word out with the truth here. The facts. The problem is, so many people that are voting Democratic aren't willing to look at facts. And it's very frustrating. My own brother. Again, I'm not gonna say who he is, but my own brother, literally my own brother, legally my brother at least. He's not my brother by blood, because I don't think anybody in my bloodline would think that dumb. And if you are in my bloodline, I know who you are, and think like that, better look in the mirror and start thinking again. You got some kind of syndrome. Don't let your emotions, don't let emotions dictate and have try to shape facts around them. You must look at the facts first, then you can react with your emotions and then decide what to do there. But react based on facts. If you're not doing that, really, it's just a simple self-check of psychology. It's very important. Oh, Massachusetts welcomes me. The GPS, I really wanted to go up the gut through Rhode Island into Braintree. Braintree is just south of Boston. I really wanted to go up through the gut. Through Braintree, from south up. It seems shorter. It is a shorter route. A nicer route, too. Not just a boring highway. The Pike, sending Massachusetts $3 in the mail for driving on the Mass Pike. Ridiculous. It's just easier, and, I like that route better. But when I looked at the GPS, this thing is 22 minutes faster, to go this way. And I can't ignore that. That's too much time to sacrifice just because I don't want to pay $3. Or I want to be cheap, or it's just not worth all the extra time. Time has always been more precious to me than money. Time always more precious than money. That's why when we ask for your time and being active and helping, conservatism and Americanism, which are basically the same thing, by the way, win over Marxism, is what they are, and the idiots that fall for it, who aren't looking at facts once again. Trump accounts. Trump is doing accounts for babies now, where you can build up thousands of dollars over the years. Way better than Social Security could ever be. It's such a great thing to help families, and he's just doing that. He's doing it. It's not costing the government much money at all. It's an incredible thing. But yet, and I point that out. I point that out to my brother, right? I say, can't you just at least compliment that? And he can't even address it. He ignores it. He doesn't compliment it or put it down. He just acts like he doesn't hear it. It's complete incoherence. And he's not that, my brother is not dumb. He's not a dumb, stupid person. He's obviously not the smartest person in the world either. But man, I mean, that's just not the way to think. Period. I mean, that must affect you if you think like that, it must affect you in your personal life and your relationships too, not just in politics. So come on now. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. That's all going into play this year, by the way. But that's you just ignore that stuff. These are things that are all good for people. It'd be one thing if you're my brother and you say, look, I know Trump's doing a lot of great things. It's awesome, but I don't like what he's doing with the immigration. I'm against it. I don't like guys in the cities. It's not cool. Blah blah blah. I fight it. Whatever. Okay, but at least you're coherent enough. You may be off on some facts on the immigration even, because that too is based on complete misinformation. The idea that these are Nazis and brown shirts and whatnot, and Frank has died. That's bull. That is bull hickey, man. You got to look at your history. Look at the facts and understand that's not it. These are lawful. These are just laws that were passed in Congress, by the way, by both parties over the last 100 years about immigration law that have all been well vetted and signed by different presidents. And by the way, enforced by every president we've ever had on some level. We had an influx of over 10 million come in the last 4 years, which is a crazy amount compared to before. And a lot of them were, like Trump said, he's not lying about that. They came out of jails and other places and they're raping people. To ignore that is crazy. If you're a celebrity like Bruce Springsteen, an idiot like that, who I used to be a fan of, by the way, and you go on TV and you're saying all this crap, and you used to sing about the things that you're going against, and you talk about what happened to this guy, Press, whatever his name, that got killed, and Love, those two that got killed, right? Well, they got killed. I'm sorry that they got killed, but they got killed because they were interfering with law enforcement. That can happen. And not just interfering, but, impeding. An insurrection, that's called. That could, and despite hundreds of them doing that, by the way, to me, it's amazing only 2 have been killed. Because they have procedures where you have to protect yourself. These guys are doing everything, these Asians are doing everything they can not to use violence. I'm watching a lot of this stuff. I'm watching this video of these protests, and these people are doing things that could have gotten them killed, but these Asians are holding back. Having stuff thrown at them, stuff like that, cocktails, smoke bomb, all this crap that can hurt them. They're risking it all to get this job done, which these are lawful things. And by the way, Hitler got into office by basically blowing up, setting the parliament building in Germany on fire by using terrorism. I don't think Trump blew up any buildings or set any fires to be president. I believe he was elected in an election that was pretty much a very wide margin of victory considering the time we live in. So I don't get it. Anyway, the race for governor, everything Jay and Selena said about McCoy is right, or it's spot on. She's the only one, really, in my opinion. And as far as sports, I want to talk about the sports thing what Jay talked about too. Just a couple quick things. Number one is the Patriots coming to Connecticut, right? I think Jay knows this, but I just want to add to this. I know, and I'm glad that we were able to get some of our money back, and suing them and getting our stadium built for you guys. That's great. That we saved some face by doing that, and that is wonderful. But let me be clear, and I knew this this is something got lost on me even back then. I was around then. I was in my 20s. I was like 25 or 26. I want to say 96. I believe, yeah. I'm going to say it in one sentence. The Patriots were never, ever coming to Connecticut. Never. It was never going to happen. Not for a minute, not for a day. And John Rowland was a boob to believe it. As governor, he was a boob. Now listen, most of the citizens were all excited about it too. And I'm not going to call everybody in Connecticut boobs because they're not. So but for someone because it's easy to have wishful thinking, right? You want it to be true. So I understand wishful thinking causes you to want. But if you're the governor making a deal like that, you're a boob. Okay, I love John Rowland, I do. I've even talked to him briefly last year for a little while, trying to get him to help out with our movement. He's retired. He doesn't want to do it. It's cool. He's been through a lot. I think he got railroaded a lot with that hot tub stuff. Now, I'm not saying he didn't do a couple things he shouldn't have done. I think maybe that, I really don't know. It seems to me it got blown out of proportion. Like when you look at someone like AOC, or you look at someone like Omar from Minnesota, who came in broke, and now it's $55 million or whatever it is. I don't think we're all doing like that. The hypocrisy just goes on and on and on. In order to have a free and prosperous nation like America, and we're going to talk about America a lot. In order to have that, you got to have honest discourse and debate. You can't have this fake stuff. You can't. This hypocrisy. You can't have hypocrisy. And the left wing is all about hypocrisy and death. They like abortion. We don't like abortion. I mean, it's all about death and hypocrisy. It's bad things. And now, over the last 15 years or so, I'd say, it's turned evil. The chaos now that they're fomenting. Chaos and evil mean the same thing. If you're religious and you study the Bible, you know that's true. So, but the Patriots were never coming to Connecticut, and I knew it right that day when Roland got on the stage with Kraft, I believe, at the state capitol, if I remember right. And then it was everybody, the whole Eyewitness News and all the media got all excited. I said, oh no. I said, they're getting bamboozled. I knew it immediately. I was one of the only ones, too. Everybody else was falling for it. Smart people otherwise. The same kind of wishful thinking and utopia thinking that gets so many people on the left wing so unhinged. You tell somebody you got Hitler in the White House, and you got Nazis in the street, and dressed in ICE uniforms. It's ridiculous. It's not true, but it's certainly going to make some people believe it. And I gotta tell you once again, if I believed that, if I thought we had that situation, I would be out in the streets fighting as well. Probably not running into vehicles and getting myself killed like idiot like that, or running around in packed in heat like that. Those dumbasses did. I'm sorry. I know they're dead. I feel sorry that they died. I don't want anybody to die in this thing, but they're dumbasses. And they're actually behaving like enemy combatants, in my opinion. So, yes, I'm sorry that they died. I don't want to see anybody die. But, this is the onset, the modern version of a civil war that's cracking here. And it can be stopped in its tracks if we just start, rising together as a group. So in other words, the next time I hear about conservatives in a room, people hearing a bunch of liberal lies and not speaking up and just being afraid to speak up about it, it just infuriates me. You gotta push back. But the Patriots, I'm sorry, you probably already know this. Patriots were never coming to Hartford. Number one, Paul Tagliabue would never, as the commissioner at the time of the NFL, would never have let that happen. Come on, think about it. Even if we were the 33rd market or whatever, never in 10,000 years, 10 million years would Paul Tagliabue allow that. And no way would enough owners vote for it. Do you think Rod Irsay, I think, was the owner of the Giants at the time, would go for that? Well, I may have the wrong guy. The Giants owners would never vote for that. Jets, and he was one of the more respected owners in the NFL. Just never. Okay? To make 5 million people that live in Massachusetts drive, or 6 million, 7 million plus people live in the rest of New England drive down to Hartford to see the Patriots. Even if they called them the New England Patriots, I know they would have still called them the Patriots. It just was never going to happen. Bob Kraft was using it as a tool, a play to get his stadium built that's there now in Foxborough. It was never anything more than that. And so I'm glad they sued him, got some money back, but I just want to point that out. And as far as like the state having a professional team here in the future, it's just not gonna happen. I'm sorry. It's not gonna happen. I wish I was wrong. Maybe way down the road when teams expand to 35, 40 teams, as time goes by and the population grows and more expansion happens, it could happen someday. It's just not gonna happen anytime I don't think in my lifetime anyway. I just don't think so. I'm very sorry about that. But I wish it was true. I share the sentiments. I share Jay's sentiments about how good it would be for the state, and thank goodness for basketball, for college basketball, because we dominate in that area. It's great. I've been following the teams, and I'm going to get in trouble here a little bit. I follow the men's team. I really don't follow the women's team that much. Not because I'm sexist at all, just because the games just aren't that competitive, really. There's all these 40 and 50-point blowouts all the time. It bores me. I'm sorry. That's all it is. If there was more women that wanted to play, and they had more, highly skilled females playing, it might be more interesting to watch. And I think sometimes when it comes down to the tournament, you get down at the end, you have a couple good teams, you get some close games, it's cool. But and I'm certainly rooting for the teams. Both team men and women, of course. So I can't believe the guy's still kicking. It's been around forever. That guy. I think Calhoun at this point's got to be going, come on, Gino, what the hell? They had like a little private rivalry going on there. They did over the years. I know they did. Now Calhoun's been retired for a long time, 10 years now, I think. And he's got to be going, Jesus, I thought Gino would come along by now, Kind of like Peyton Manning with Tom Brady. He's probably like, I thought Brady would have retired by now, But anyway, that's my take on the sports thing. And I'm going to sign off here pretty soon. We're going to be, we're now traveling Maryland and toward Boston. We're somewhere in probably in Worcester pretty soon, going through the Worcester area on the Mass Pike, where they charge you by the mile. And I'm sure they tax the people in Massachusetts plenty of money for it anyway. It's a racket. Massachusetts is a racket. Oh, by the way, the whole thing with New Marlboro getting pulled over up there. You gotta check that out on Facebook, the actual video. I wasn't able to bring it here. But I have, it turns out that I was up there. The reason why I was up there, I got pulled over because I had a subpoena to serve up there. And I wasn't going to really go through with filing a complaint and get into it. I am going to follow through with the, very much follow through with, the hearing, for sure, online. That will be live. Well, I'm not sure if I'll do it here. I'll probably do it here, record it, and then post it live on Facebook. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. If the hearing comes down the road, it probably will be a few weeks down the road. If they're backed up like Connecticut was, they sure will be. If that's the case, I may be able to get it in a much more wide spectrum at that point. But I'm also going to file the complaint. I'm going to go through and file the complaint against the officer who refused to identify himself or why he was pulling me over. And I think it's only fair to do. And the only reason I'm doing it, I have to change my mind, is because the very case that I was assigned to brought me up there in the first place has reopened. And I got to go up there anyway. So now that I've got to be up there anyway, one of the reasons I was going to do it, I just didn't want to drive all the way up there. It's kind of a haul. And I drive enough. So I didn't want to drive all the way up there just for that. But it isn't just for that. It's really a question of the Fourth Amendment, So we're going to go up there. Oh, another thing is I've decided to adopt Coventry as my hometown. That's right, Coventry, Connecticut. And I'm going to their RTC meeting on the 11th of February. And I urge anyone who wants to come along to show up. We want to make it better. We want to ascertain it and make it better. Selena's doing it with Ansonia. I'm going to do it with Coventry. Manchester's not going to fit the bill for me right now. Although maybe I'll try that one too. We'll see. I have stakes in both towns. So we're going to work on both maybe. I'll start with Coventry, I believe. And February 11th. So come on down or message me if you want to come along. I'm not sure if I'm going to tape it live or not. I have to think that through. I think I have the right to do it because it's going to be at the town annex, by the way, on Route 31 in Coventry on February 11th. And they're asking for people to come. I mean, if you're a resident of Coventry in particular, you know what I mean? If you're not, you can still come, but you're not going to get elected to the board or anything. But it's time to put that town to the test. Eastern Connecticut too, by the way. Maybe Willimantic as well. If you're from Willimantic and you want to help that RTC, let's work on those towns. Manchester, Coventry, Willimantic. I think a good 3 to do. Bolton maybe even 2. That's a little chain. Manchester leads to Bolton. Leads to Coventry. Leads to, I think there's Willie in between there. But I think it might border Willimantic in one little part. Little chain. Those 4, I think we're going to sort of zoom in and focus on. And also Eastern, which is part of Willimantic. Because we need a chapter of TPUSA there. We have one at Central. We're going to go figure out what's going on there first, I think. And let's get one at Eastern. That's where I graduated from college, by the way. I have a bachelor's degree in history and social sciences there. I got that degree back in 2008. Chipped away at it for a while. Got associates at MCC, Manchester Community College, and then chipped away at that for a while and eventually got it. Didn't do a heck of a lot. I was going to teach history, but I figured out that I wouldn't be able to teach what they want me to teach, quite frankly. I just wouldn't be able to teach the revisionist bullcrap history. Or better yet, I would teach more than they would. I might be able to teach the basics, but teach things more. I would teach what they want. I would probably be able to teach what they want me to teach them. However, I would put in more of truths that they don't want me to teach. It's just not worth the hassle. It would have been a good, impactful thing. And maybe someday I'll take up one as a, one of those, volunteer ones or whatever down the road once I get a little more experience. But at any rate, that is my alma mater there. Oh, and another thing. This is going to be another very interesting thing. This is from Common Sense News, Entertainment, Sports. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, Common Sense News, Entertainment, Sports. I have decided, now people may not know this, people who know me know this, but back in, I love baseball, okay? I'm a big baseball fan. I think people who from school remember me wearing a Red Sox jacket until I wore it to the nub. I still have, no, I don't have a Red Sox warm-up jacket anymore. I'm not really sure what happened to that, but, and I still am a Red Sox fan. I don't follow like I used to. I'm too busy with other things. And, of course, age kind of narrows down those things a little bit. But it was fun watching them win all those championships finally, huh? Everybody knows. I wonder if anybody remembers me wearing that jacket. Oh, I bet you Douglas was celebrating in 2004, you know. But I love sports. I love baseball in particular is my favorite. Golf and football or others, basketball. I mean, really like most all sports. And so baseball, I played, Little League, played Babe Ruth with good friends. I'm not going to say any more names. And then I did not play in high school or organized baseball after that. However, when I was 26, I did play organized. I played in a thing called the Federal League. I found this little local league in Manchester, South Windsor, I think it was actually, called the Federal League. I played in that outfield for a year, and I did okay. I was disappointed how I played, but I did okay. And I remember that was fun. I think it was Manchester and South Windsor. But the league folded the next year, so I was kind of like left in the dark. And then in 2013, I heard about this league. I saw a sign for a league called Valley Wheel Baseball out of Springfield, Massachusetts. Yep. And it was a 30 and over baseball league. Not softball, but baseball. And I was like, oh, I got to play. I was 43 at the time. And I was like, I got to do it. It's a gotta. Gotta means you got to do it, by the way. So you say, it's a gotta. If you say to yourself, it's a gotta, that means you got to do it. It's a personal oath to yourself. So when it comes time this November, it's time to get up and vote Republican, say it's a gotta. So you got to do it. But getting back to baseball, it was a gotta. So I signed up and I joined and played on a baseball team. I made the team. It wasn't like I had to make the team. They were actually looking for players, and they got enough. They had 6 teams in their league. They named the teams after major league teams. They don't let Red Sox or Yankees be one of their names because they don't want guys fighting over being on that team, which is smart. But I ended up on the Tigers, right? Ended up on the Tigers, and I started off playing in right field, a little bit of center field, mostly right field, and working my way up. They have a rule: you got to play 3 innings. The lineup is continuous, so they can't take you in and out of the lineup. So you're always in the lineup. 15-man roster. So I always got at least 2, sometimes 3 at bats. I was near the bottom of the lineup at first. And anyway, long story short, I played for the team for 7 seasons, 13 through 19. And it was great. I had such a good time for the Tigers every year. And we never really won a championship. We never won a championship. We got to the finals once. We got drubbed by the A's. It was terrible. But I played fairly well for an older guy. I really did. I played fairly well. In 2018, I led the team in batting average. I hit .485, and this is when I was 49, and you couldn't get me out, man. I was on base. I walked. I drove in like 20 runs. I have my stats at home. Me and this one other guy were the 2 best hitters on the team. And that year, it was a great year. And we had a winning season, so I don't think we didn't win the championship. That wasn't the year we made the final, I don't think. But the next year, I broke my thumb on a free play picking off a guy at first base. I ended up moving up to first base, playing the last 2 or 3 seasons, 3 or 4 seasons, I think. I played all first base, and I love playing. And I you know what? I'll tell you about my play. I'm a sure-handed with my glove. I only made like 1 or 2 errors the entire 7 years, and I was a good hitter. Even the years that I didn't lead the team, I still hit over 300 most years. And I made it on base consistently. I stole like 25 bases. Only got caught once. I had pretty good wheels. And my weakness was probably, well, I didn't have one really. No. My weakness is I wasn't really the speediest at catching balls, like catching up to the ball. But if I got to it, I would catch it. And I also there was one season I only struck out 3 times the whole year. So I was playing well. And then the COVID hit. And they canceled the season. I wanted to play. They thought about trying to play, but they wanted you to wear a mask if you were going to play. At first, I think they postponed the start of the season, hoping they could start later in the year. That's what it was. And then when they went to start, they did end up playing a shorter year, I'm pretty sure. But they wanted you to wear literally a mask while you were playing the game. That was not going to happen with me. That was a non-starter all the way. There was just no way in hell, not a chance in the world I was going to wear a mask. You know, I'll tell you about the mask some other time in general, but I especially wasn't going to wear when I'm playing baseball on a hot summer day. I mean, that's a heart attack or asphyxiation or something waiting to happen. So I just wouldn't play. I didn't play. Dropped playing. It's terrible. But next year they also wanted. Next year I showed up for the practices. First practice, wanted to play again, and I registered and everything. And they still wanted us to wear masks. And I again got my money back. Refused to play. And then the year after that, honestly, in 2015, by the way, I got diabetes, and I'm going to talk about diabetes a lot too. Common Sense News and Entertainment Health. Yeah, we're going to do that too. Diabetes, I have a story to tell about that. I was diagnosed with that in 2015. I was actually at a ball game when I couldn't stop peeing during the game. That got me to go to a doctor. And I got diagnosed with it. But I continued to play. I was able to continue to play well, despite it. But by the time, and I didn't play in 2020 or 2021. By the time 2022 came around, I had a little bit of narcolepsy in my feet. Not narcolepsy, neuropathy, thank you. A little bit of neuropathy in my feet for the diabetes. And I also had some weakness. I'll talk about it another time in more detail. I was screwing myself with drinking too many sugary drinks still during that period of time. Even 7 years after I was diagnosed. Really dumb. After the COVID, I took a downturn in how I was eating and drinking. For sure, it lasted for 3 years. And it almost killed me. Could have killed me. Lucky it didn't. Lucky I'm so strong and I have such a good body. Otherwise, it would have killed me. But I managed to harness it and get under control. And anyway, long story short, I've decided in 2026 I'm going to go back and play again. That's right. And we're going to cover it here on the podcast, on our Facebook or whatever it is I have by that time. The opening game will be, I believe, in late April. So we're still a little ways away, quite a ways away. I'm pretty sure since I've been gone for so long, I actually went last night, hand-delivered my registration and my check to pay for the fee. Unfortunately, this game I pay to play. It's not the other way around where they pay me. Unfortunately, I'm not that good at it. But I paid the fee, and I literally hand-delivered it to the league commissioner's house. He lives in Connecticut, so I brought it to him at the end of a Naps run last night. So I'm pretty. He says there's a waiting list, but he always says that. There's no waiting list. Don't let him fool you. But his name's Jim. All right, he's a valuable guy. If you want to play baseball, by the way, they lowered it, by the way, to 28 and over. So he says there's a waiting list, but I think there probably are people that register, a lot of them, but I think a lot of people don't follow through and end up playing. Because we're talking about baseball here, you guys, not softball. And I don't care, it's a much, much different game. It's the same rules, per se, generally speaking. It's a much different game. Softball is a joke game. You play in a little field where you can have beer and play if you want. Just you know, some people take it seriously. There are, of course, college softball, professional, and for the women, it's a serious game, of course. You know, so it is. But when it comes to like playing in leagues, like local leagues or whatever, that's the bottom line. It's softball is not the same thing. Baseball is much more intense, much bigger field. It requires a lot more athleticism, really, if you want to play it well. You know, in this league, you don't have to be no freaking Michael Jordan athlete to do it. You know what I mean? Certainly, I'm not. And so I've decided to try. I think my feet. I've been eating so well the last 2 years. My feet have improved enough where I feel like I can maybe try it. And I believe in what Yoda says, by the way. Do or do not. There is no try. So that's really what I'm going to do it. But having said that, you know, the neuropathy isn't completely gone, you know, but it's down. It's going to be a little weird running at full tilt, I have to admit. So I'll have to see how that goes. But I feel like the skills are still there. I feel like I can still hit. I feel like I can still face their pitching, although they did lower from 28 to 30. So there might be a couple 28-year-olds. That's pretty close to prime pitching skills. So there might be some guys throwing some singers. I know we had a guy in the league one year, a while back, where he was throwing it 85 miles an hour. You know, it's pretty close to major league pitching. And he was tough to face. We were all striking out against him. I struck out against him too. But I did line out to right field against him, which I was proud of that. He only gave up like one hit to one guy, grounded and one into right field, I think. Nobody was pulling the guy, you know. I'm a switch hitter, by the way, but I do bat right-handed like 96% of the time. I am capable of hitting left-handed. Probably not against a speed ball like that. But, you know, most of the pitching is very hittable, so don't think for a minute that the guys who are that good, they're probably playing in other leagues. That's what I'm saying. But 28 does lower the bar a little bit. But I signed up for it. It's going to happen. Now, whether I end up on the Tigers again or drafted by another team, technically since I've been gone, I am technically a returning player, but I think they mean, so we'll see what happens. I think if the Tigers want to draft me, they will. I know a lot of the guys that played for the team when I was there are gone. It's been like I said, quite a while now, 5 years since I last saw the guys in 2021 when I showed up at the practice. So there's probably, I know that for sure that one of the guys that came the year after I did is now the manager, so I know that much. And me and him got along pretty good. But I'm not necessarily sure if I want to go back to the Tigers or not. Maybe a different team would be cool, you know. But I'm the loyal kind of guy, you know. I like to stick with the same team, kind of, you know, get us a championship. But we'll see how my body responds. I am older. I'm 55. You know, I stopped playing when I was 50. 49 actually was the last year. No, I was actually technically 48, turning 49. It was the last year I actually played. So, and I broke my thumb that year. I missed 5 games. That was another story. Just picking off a guy at first. That was it. I'm holding the freaking glove. I'm holding it out. The guy's, my pitcher throws it over. I catch the ball cleanly in my glove. I go to tag the runner, and as I'm tagging the runner, I feel the most incredible sharp pain in my thumb, my right thumb. I'm left-handed. It's my right thumb. Hurt like hell. It belongs in my top 5 most excruciating pain ever. No, maybe number 1 actually, and I'll tell you why. I knew I had jammed it. I didn't know I broke it. Because I've jammed my fingers before playing basketball. And it's a similar pain, very sharp and hurtful. You know, and I just figured it was that. But this was, looking back at it, it was that same pain, but much worse. I kept playing. I didn't even take my finger out of the glove. I just threw the ball back to the pitcher, and I was like, and it just took the pain without reacting, honestly. Just kind of like, I was wincing because the pain was so miserable, people, let me tell you. It was such miserable pain. But I think another 2 pitches were thrown. And then the pain just wasn't, when I jammed my finger, the pain would start to slowly subside. It just was getting worse. So that's when I took my hand out of the glove, and I wish I could show you a picture of it. I don't have a picture of it. My thumb was bent at the middle joint at like a 45-degree angle, literally at the middle joint of the thumb, of my right thumb, bent at a 45-degree angle. And that was when it hit me. You know, it's funny, you don't know the severity of your injury until you see it. It's interesting. Like, you hear people that they're running along healthy, then they go to a routine checkup, they hear they have cancer, and they're in a hospital bed a week later. They've gone down, completely downhill. But they had the cancer for a year, just when they heard about it. Psychosomatics is something that should never be never underestimated. Anyway, yeah, that was shocking. I was like, timeout. I think I need a timeout here. I showed the catcher. He's like, yeah, he needs to get him a timeout. And I got off the field, and then I got over to the van, and Melissa was with me. And I told her, I walked up to her, and I said, honey, you got to straighten my thumb out right now. You got to put it in place. I know it's going to hurt like a mother. I said, just give me a count of 3 and just do it, okay? She's like, no. I said, please, you got to do this. She's like, oh, okay. Melissa was CNA at the time. And I was like, 1, 2, 3. And I would tell you, that's where the number 1 comes in. I didn't know it at the time even, but I found out moments later that it was the only time it's ever happened to me. I don't know if it's ever happened to you or not, but I lost consciousness. I lost consciousness for, Melissa says it was about 30, 40 seconds, 20 or 30 seconds, I think. I was out. Or maybe it was less than that. I'll have to ask her. It was a few seconds. I was out. I literally passed out because of the pain. Literally. I came to. We went up to the emergency room up in Holyoke. They got me, of course. taken care of, patched up, which is one thing Western medicine is good for, by the way. The only thing, in my opinion, is patching you up when you get hurt like that. But it turned out they had cockroaches in their emergency room, and I told them that. They didn't make me pay for the... I didn't have insurance at the time. I didn't have to pay for the emergency room bill because they had cockroaches in there. I was literally cockroaches running around in the emergency room, examining room, not the waiting room even, the examining room. Isn't that cool? Hopefully they got that fixed by that. It was 2019. That was the last year I played. I had to miss 5 games because of that. It was a bummer. 5 games, yeah, it was like 4 or 5 weeks. But luckily, the thumb, every now and then when it's really humid and rainy out, it aches a little bit. Probably have a tad of arthritis in that sucker. But yeah, that was a pretty bad injury. But anyway, we're gonna sign off here shortly because we are now finally getting close to the turn off the destination. I'm gonna use my navigation on my phone to get to the precise intersection where I'm going, the Braintree and whatnot. I'm very familiar with this road, but once we get off of this and head around the Boston area, of course, my familiarity is not as good as it was, although it's getting more and more familiar all the time. I've probably done at least a dozen different scene evaluations and cases around and locates and things in the Boston area now over the last, I don't know, 3 years or so. Maybe more than a dozen. Probably a couple dozen by now. But anyway, this has been good. We're going to post this on Facebook later so you can watch it there. This is recorded now, but we're going to post it probably later when I get home. I won't be able to do it now because I need my phone for other things. And it takes forever to upload these suckers, especially this one is moving on close to an hour by now, I'm sure. So anyway, those are my thoughts for now. And I'll get ready for Common Sense News, Entertainment, Sports with, me, Jason Douglas, playing baseball. We'll see how it works out. I hope I don't, one thing I don't want to do is hurt the team, so, but I'm going to make it happen. I'm pretty sure I can do it. Anyway, for now, we're going to say goodbye to everybody. God bless America. God bless Connecticut. Take care, everybody. We'll speak with you soon.